Welcome back to KMM Tech. Today we're going to start looking at Notion and give you kind of a breakdown of how Notion works and how you can implement it into your daily life. So if you watched my last video, you'll know that we did a full walkthrough overview of my current Notion setup. And we're going to start walking through all of that sort of stuff and how I've built the majority of the stuff. But before we get that far, I think we need to understand what Notion is so that we can understand what it can do. So Notion is simply a group of pages that you can create, and inside of those pages contains blocks. And those blocks will then help you make up your pages then make up your whole system. You'll see that blocks can be many different things. They can be things like a bulleted list, a numbered list, a task list. They can be quotations, they can be code snippets, a whole host of different things. So I thought we'd start today by looking at creating a page. And to create a page, you go over here and you hit this little plus sign. It says add a page. And you'll see that we've added a page. The first thing you can do is you can add a title to the page. So we're going to call this test. You'll see up here that we can add an icon, we can add a cover, we can add a comment. For right now, we're going to leave it blank. The next thing, it says press enter to continue with an empty page or pick a template. Templates are something that I think you guys should look into on your own time. There's a lot of really great templates that are out there, and the templates are very usable and user-friendly. We'll go over templates at one point, but I want to start with actually building stuff. You can certainly go to the template and get a jump start on a lot of this stuff, but that doesn't teach you what Notion is capable of doing. And you're going to find that Notion is going to adapt to you, and you can build it in any way that you want. So using templates in the beginning, I don't recommend because of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start learning about pages, learning about text blocks, and then learning about databases. So for right now, we're going to just create an empty page. You'll see that it automatically assigns us a cover, an icon. You can go through, you can upload an image, and you can choose an icon. So let's choose, I don't know. How about dog? Okay, let's use a dog face. That'll be our test. You can add a cover. It'll suggest a cover for you. You can change a cover. You can link to a cover on the internet. You can upload your own cover. It's got a NASA archive here. It's got the Met Museum here. It's got other museums, and it even has the ability to search Unsplash. So you can do that. You can choose your own. It doesn't really matter, whatever you're comfortable doing. I'm just going to grab this one and stick it up here because it kind of fits with what we're doing. If you don't like the position of it, you can hit reposition, and then you can drag it around to a point where you like it, and then hit save position. There you go. Now already you have kind of a customized page. We're not going to add a comment, but you could. Actually, let's add a comment. Let's just say, this is my test. Oops. Page. Sorry, I got my hand on my mouse and it's kind of wrapped around my microphone, so it's hard to type with two hands. So, and you can add comments like this. This is really if you have multiple people in your group. So we'll just resolve that, and there we go. And oops, let's get rid of that. We don't want that. Resolve. There we go. So now that I've clicked underneath the test, you'll see that it says type / for commands. Now, this is what's called a text block, or just a block. I call it a block. People call it text block, but for me, it's a block because you can do a lot more than just text with it. So it says type / for commands. This will give you an idea of all of the things that you can do within your text block. So if you've ever worked in what's the word? WordPress, and you've used Gutenberg in WordPress, This is very similar to how Gutenberg works. So you have a block, and your block can be a to-do list. It could be a heading. It could be a bulleted list. It could be a numbered list. There are lots of different things that this could be. You can turn it into a divider. You can link to a page. You can mention people. You can mention dates. You can do inline quotes. You can have a database inline in this page. We're going to get into databases a little bit later. But there's just, you insert media, you can insert videos, embed Google Drive, Twitter stuff. There's a whole host of different things that you can do. And the nice thing with this is, let's say that I said, okay, I want to do a bulleted list. So here's item 1, item 2, item 3. And I say, you know what? I don't know that I want a bulleted list. Maybe I want to turn this into a numbered list. Whoops. So I can go and change this to a numbered list. So instead of it being a bulleted list, now it becomes a numbered list. You can do this in bulk. So if we had these things, we want to change this all into a numbered list. There's your numbered list. One of my favorite things to do, and I do this a lot with note-taking, is I turn things into toggle lists. So for example, we have a toggle list. So you can use this for studying, and you can do like, for example, 2 plus 2 equals, whoops, that's not equals, equals. And then of course the answer is 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this to a 4. We're just going to make this a plain text, turn into just plain text. And what I can then do is take this text block and stick it in here. So you can use this as a way to give yourself like questions and answers for tests. So 2 plus 2, is it 4? Let me see. Yes, that's the answer. So you can start building that, and it'll help with your study habits. So that's kind of a neat thing that you can do. I would advise you, as you start to learn Notion, to get used to just the different options that you have inside of here. You can do just plain old text in here. So for example, if I wanted to create, let's say I wanted to create a heading first. So I'm going to create a heading. So we'll call this my test prep. Okay. And you know what? This heading thing is too big. I'm going to go here and turn this into a heading 2. All right, that's much better. So now I can start saying, okay, let's do some notes. Maybe I want to do some notes on multiplication tables. So I can do, for example, I don't know, my 8 times tables. Okay. And then in here, I can then start doing 8 times 1. And then I can turn this into a toggle list. And then, so 8 times 1 is 8. I can drag this in here. And I can now start saying, okay, here's my test prep. And let's say I want to also work on my 9 times tables. And we'll do the same thing. We'll create a toggle list. Toggle list. So this is my 9 times tables. Hang on, let me turn off my notifications because people are messaging me. Hang on one second while we turn off the notifications. There we go. And then you can start building your 9 times tables. So it's a good way to do some test prep. And that's how you do that. So get used to using this. The slash command is great. And one thing I forgot to mention, I would recommend downloading the Notion app. You can use it on the web, sure. There's a lot more information on the actual desktop app than there is inside the web app. They leave a lot off, so it loads faster. So definitely use the desktop app as you're doing this. Now, every single page has attributes. So if you go up to the top left corner, top right corner here, the 3 dots, you'll see that we have different styles. There's 3 different fonts that you can choose. You can choose to have small text, which makes everything smaller, or regular size text, totally up to you. Full width is a feature that we haven't really played with or won't really see because we don't have a lot of information here. But we can do full width page, which will move the text so it covers the full page. Or you might want to have it in a narrow format. Page lock does exactly what you think it does. It locks the page. So if this were just kind of a navigational thing, which you can certainly do, you can build links to pages. And that's kind of what my dashboard is. It's links to other pages. But you can lock it. And once you lock it, you'll see I no longer have the ability to take this and I can't, go in here and I can't delete it. I can't add stuff because I've locked the page. Okay. Once I unlock it, I can now go here and I can move this around and I can go here and I can change my text. But because I had it locked, I couldn't do that. Adding it to favorites, it just simply sticks it over here underneath your favorites. And then you have the ability to copy a link. So if you wanted to copy this page somewhere else or give it to someone else as a link, you could. And then you have your usual undo, page history, deleted pages. You can delete the page. If you need to import or export anything into here, you could do that. And we can move this to the list over here somewhere else inside of this list. So that is a little bit about pages and a little bit about the text blocks. So before we move along too far, what I want to do is I want to show you over here is your sidebar. Okay, your sidebar is where all of your pages are held. Now, these pages are all pages that I have created just by simply hitting this page. Sometimes there are other ways to create pages actually inside of here. You see I can embed a subpage. That will create a new page, and it'll actually create the page inside of the test area. So that's one way to do it. You can take this, for example, let's say I wanted to move this test inside of my KMM Tech page. I can take it and just drag it into here. And now when I go to KMM Tech, you'll see that that test is now sitting there. Okay. You can move it out of it by going to move to, and you can move it somewhere else. You can, of course, go here, find it, and then drag it to wherever else you'd like it. Okay, that's how the sidebar works. We'll get into more fun sidebar stuff later on, but you can do all of that through the sidebar. Now, one of the other things that you can do with pages inside of here in text blocks is you can create a database. So down here you see that there's database, there's table, board, list, calendar, and gallery. Honestly, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Personally, I think it's easier to start with a table. And the reason I say that is when you start with a table, you have all of the columns that you're going to need. And then you can actually turn this table into anything you want. So if you remember, we had table, board, calendar, list, gallery. They're all here. We can transform this table into anything that we want. And because of that, tables become databases are very flexible. But I think it's easier to design the database inside the table view. We're going to get into database designing in the next video, but this is how you actually go ahead and start creating a database. You have name, you have tags. These are default fields. You can change them. However, this first column you cannot change. You can change the name of it. It must be a title tag, title column. You cannot change the type of column in the first column. This one, the tags column, you can change it. You have a whole host of options. You can change it to any one of those, and you can, of course, move them around to create new ones. You hit the add button. So I don't want to get too heavy into this because I want to keep this video kind of short, but that's database. Now, the question is what's the difference between a page and a database? Because there is a little bit of a difference. If you notice, I'm going to delete this page for a second and create a new page. So if I were to just start typing, we'll call this test again. Okay. Here I have my text blocks. Okay, just like I did before, I can type and we can type and have fun, and it's a grand old time. However, when I go and I delete all of this and I create a new page again, if I choose table, board, list, calendar, gallery, doesn't matter, you'll notice that underneath this table, I cannot click. If you choose a database, all that can be on that page is a database. That's it, the end. There are ways to convert it, which we'll cover later on in later lessons. But my rule of thumb is if you have a page and you want to have a database and something else, you're going to create it this way. I'm going to delete this and create the page first. If you want to start with the database first, so we'll call this test again. And let's say, for example, we want to create a database first. Here's my list of databases. And you see the word inline here, inline, 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 inline. Choose the one you want. I'm going to choose inline, and you'll see that now I have a smaller version of that database. Remember, the other one was kind of large. It kind of stretched the screen. But now if I click down here, you see now I can type underneath it. When I created the other page and I clicked table, I can't click down here to add more stuff. So if you want to have other stuff on the page with that database, I would recommend that you create the database as inline, okay? And I'll show you how to do that again. You hit the slash, hit the slash, type in database, and you'll have your list of databases, and make sure it says inline, okay? You don't want to go down here where it says full page. You want inline. And then I'll create your inline database. All right, that's enough for today. I don't want to get too overwhelmed with databases. The next video that we have coming out is going to touch on databases. We're going to create a database from scratch. In fact, I'm going to show you exactly how I created my task database. With the checklist, with this, with silos, which I no longer use, with the tags, due dates, task type. And we'll get into some relational stuff, probably not next week, but in the following video, we'll get into some relational stuff. So I will show you exactly how I created this, and I'll show you how to take this database and stick a different view on a page like I created my dashboard. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you know when the new videos come out. Make sure you like the video so it helps us up in the ranking of YouTube and we get noticed a little bit easier. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.